Splice loops have taken the music production world by storm, letting music producers quickly add professional sounds to their tracks. But can these sounds cost you a sync deal? Today we are diving into the complex relationship between Splice loops, legal teams, and music placements. From experienced producers to entertainment lawyers, we'll cover why using Splice might work in your favor or against it. For those who are new to sync, here's a quick breakdown. Sync licensing is when your music is placed in TV shows, music, commercials, and even video games. It's a great way for artists and music producers to gain exposure and make money. However, the standards are high, and every sound in sync project needs to be legally cleared. That's where the Splice debate begins. Splice loops are labeled as royalty-free, which means once you've paid for access to the Splice library, you can use these sounds in your projects without any additional licensing fees every time the track is played or used. This setup makes Splice an attractive tool for independent music producers offering high-quality sounds at a one-time cost. But with high-profile sync deals, there's more at stake than just paying royalties. Sync deals often demand a clear and a trackable ownership chain for every sound in the track. So while Splice promises royalty-free use, sync teams sometimes consider broader risks like the track's originality or the potential for content ID conflicts. In the world of sync, royalty-free doesn't always mean risk-free. Ryan Schmidt, a partner at Bowen Schmidt Entertainment Attorneys, emphasizes that the sync world is more than just the music. It's about minimizing risk. Even if Splice terms allow royalty-free use, a sync project's legal team might still flag the track as risky. Just because the term says you can use the loop doesn't mean the legal team will feel comfortable with it.
I checked out the comments on this too, and there's a bunch of angry folks here. The thing you have to understand about the sync world, and really just label publishing as well, to a lesser extent, is it's all about limiting risk. So just because you can incorporate a Splice sample into your song, and the terms and conditions say you can do that, you can recreate it, you can even put it in sync placements, doesn't mean that the individual, the music supervisor or the legal team on that production is going to feel comfortable enough with those terms and conditions to clear that. And so a lot of music supervisors have created these blanket policies of, if you can't warrant that every single sound on here you own and you've created and you have permissions for, I don't even want to touch it.
Yeah.
Ryan's unique perspective as an entertainment lawyer with first-hand experience as a musician gives him a strong sense of how sync law operates. Samara Jacks, founder of Latte Legal PLLC, often advises headlines to avoid Splice loops in sync deals. With over a decade in entertainment law, Jacks has seen cases where using pre-made loops has hurt sync chances. Her advice is clear.
If you want to do sync, I would avoid Splice. You can actually take the Splice sound and just remake it yourself. Using Splice, there have been so many things that have been lost because they have Splice-specific effects or Splice beats in there. It's a problem. So avoid using it at all costs, especially if you want to get a placement.
Jack's stance is based on experience, as she has worked with countless independent producers who face more hurdles without the backing of a label. In her view, while Splice is useful, it can become an obstacle trying to secure a sync placement due to concerns over originality and legal doubts from the production teams. Despite the concerns, music producer DJ Pain One shares a different story. He has achieved multiple placements using Splice loops, proving that they can work within the industry, though not without some debate.
I'm not done with this. I want to push back a little because I've certainly gotten both placements and sync deals with Splice sample-based tracks. And, the way I look at it, and what you brought up, it makes sense. People, especially music supervisors, have their own rules. It's not about what's legal. And I think the Splice conversation is often characterized as a black and white issue where it's a matter of Splice just not being accepted for sync. You can't use Splice for sync. Well, you can when you look at Splice's terms. And Splice has actually implemented a system to respond, I think, mostly to the Content ID problems. I imagine that would certainly work as proof of adherence to Splice's royalty-free license terms, where you could export a PDF file that lists all the information needed to prove that that's where you sourced that sound.
In the sync community, opinions on Splice vary widely. Some music producers echo DJ Pain One's experience using Splice successfully. Others, like Lawyer Jax, warn that Splice can make placements more difficult, especially for independent artists or music producers without a label backing. One commenter mentions, "I've used Splice samples in major commercials, what's the big issue?" And another one says, "Sure, royalty-free sounds are allowed, but in a crowded industry, having loops too recognizable can hurt you." This conversation clearly shows that there's no one-size-fits-all answer for this when it comes to sync. So, is using Splice loops worth the risk of sync placements? Ultimately, it depends on your approach and your goals. If you are aiming for high-profile placements, consider crafting your own melodies or blending multiple samples to ensure originality. Splice can be a useful tool, but it's important to know the risk in high-stakes sync deals. So what do you think of all this? Have you had success with Splice in your placements? Drop a comment below and let's keep the convo going. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe for more insights on navigating the music industry. I'm your boy Reggie Beats, I'm out.